Attention listener, the following podcast of The Genuine Guys may contain profanity and zany opinions. Viewer discretion is advised. Please don't hold us accountable of any conflicting opinions, but rather a path to growth of opinion and thereof. Thanks.
Welcome to another episode, everyone, to podcast of The Genuine Guys. You have me, Zaida, as always, with the drink of the day, which is Mountain Dew Zero. And joining me, as always, is Kumar.
How you doing, guys?
And Adrian.
What's up, guys? You're just gonna see my body because I didn't fix my hair.
He's trying to show off his muscular.
No, stop.
He's trying to seduce the ladies. He's like, look at my body.
Stop. It's so. I didn't fix my hair.
He's trying to put
It's
us to
hot.
shame. We have the fat body. Adrian has that toned
Stop.
body.
I agree. Hey,
No.
no joke though. I pulled out my Anchor Blue Superman t-shirts from 2008.
Oh my gosh.
I know, bro. I was going through my stuff. I was like, oh my God, I got this last sale.
Do you remember when it was called Miller's Outpost?
No,
I do not.
What?
I do not.
What?
I shopped at Anchor Blue for like a year before they closed down. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Dude,
was like,
it
Anchor
was
Blue,
called-
amazing, and then it was gone. I was like, damn.
I would buy, I think it became Anchor Blue like when I was in middle school. So I bought my Tony Hawk shirts from there. But before that, it was called Miller's Outpost.
Oh wow! I never heard
I've
of Miller's.
never
Outpost.
even
That's
right.
crazy.
Dang! All right,
Dude, is that shirt like beyond faded?
It's not that faded, but like the logo, if you can see it, the
Oh,
logo
yeah.
is starting to shred. I mean,
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
old. I'm
nice.
surprised my fat ass fit into it.
Nice.
Superman
It's
got
Nice,
it
nice.
into his
quarantine weight loss.
outfit.
Oh my goodness.
Still fitting
Oh,
in his
man.
first Superman uniform.
No,
Alright,
my first one, I think my first Superman t-shirt, I was like in third grade when because I remember I went to Walmart, no, it was Kmart, because Kmart was the thing in third grade, it was Kmart in Hayward.
Yeah.
And I saw the Superman shirt, it was like that vibrant blue, and as a kid, I didn't like to stand out, so I was like, ew, that's gross, but I was like, I love it, I just wouldn't wear it inside, and then I saw this black one. It had just a regular yellow Superman logo, and that was my very first one. It was a black one with the yellow logo, no other color. I think I wore that until there was like holes in hella places because I loved it so much. And my first Superman medallion, which I think I still have somewhere, my mom bought, 18 karat gold. I still got that too. Like, I'm diehard Superman.
All right.
Trivia. I did not like Superman until Man of Steel, the movie.
What?
Oh,
Why? Because he
Yeah.
was too OP.
He was so OP, and then he just had red and blue, and then he would just wear glasses to disguise himself, and yeah.
Hey, he changed his hair too. He changed his hair.
I guess.
Yeah. Well, let me just say something. Eventually, when I got more, I've always loved Batman, but when I got more and more into DC mythology, I didn't realize how deeper and I guess quote unquote darker it was compared to, like Marvel.
I mean, that
And that's
comes
when
with
I
time.
had a newfound respect for DC's characters in general, and all of a sudden now I love DC overall.
But we have to respect Superman because you have to understand he was the first superhero. He kicked it off. Then came everyone else. So I'm just saying.
So, do
There you
you ever
go.
watch like those Superman cartoon shows, or
I
just
did.
read the
I
comics?
loved him. No,
Right.
as a kid, I didn't read the comics as much. I tried. I would sneak into certain stores and I'd try to read, and they'd be like, "Hey, you can't read that. Don't open that package." But it was more watching TV shows. But I had a neighbor. I think I might have told Adrian this at one point. When I lived in Hayward, I had a neighbor. One of my brother's best friends. He had and this was in the third grade. So my I want to say my attraction to superheroes didn't come until I met my brother's friend. His name, call out his first name, Robert. I I think the age gap between us was like 3 years or 4 years, just whatever my age gap between us with my brother. And this man had a comic book library that would put stores to shame. Like his mom bought him whatever he wanted. Yeah.
Hey,
Not only
lucky.
comic books, but he had the graphic novels. Like, I remember walking in going, holy shit, like, this is so cool. In the beginning, I didn't even read them. I just liked the pictures. So I would just be like, oh, this is so cool. And then he's like, man, you're not reading it. Read it. He's like, you're going to like it. And then I started reading it. And I was like, holy crap. And then you see it on TV and you're just like, that's when I fell into it. Like the 92s. Again, it's not just Superman, but it's all the superheroes, like the 92 X-Men, Spider-Man, and all of those. I started falling into it and I was like, man, this is fucking cool. And I just continued with it. But I did watch the shows growing up. I tried rewatching them. They weren't as good. It was hard. It was difficult.
As a kid, you enjoy it more, I guess.
Oh, amazingly.
I mean, so if like you looking back on it now, I guess what would be your guys' like favorite TV show, or like it doesn't have to be like the best TV show, but like what I guess impacted your life and what like, you know, resonated with you the most throughout the years. Like you could still watch it today if you just wanted to put it on.
Star Trek. And I'm still watching it. So Netflix is the world's greatest thing. They have almost all of the Star Trek series catalog. So I started off with the Next Generation. Again, this was also third grade. I turned to pop culture in third grade. Okay, so Star Trek Generation was the first one that I was kind of attached to, and it was because it came in that series. You watched, I think this is the order: Star Trek, King of the Hill, Simpsons. And the goal was to get to the Simpsons, but you had to watch everything in that catalog. But because of that, I fell in love with it. And up until like Star Trek got me into it. I love Star Trek. Picard is probably one of my favorite captains of all time. He's probably one of the biggest dicks in the series too. But it's like the most polite dick in the world. It's just he's a great character. He's such a complex character. I loved it. And as a kid, I was like, man, he's so cool. And Worf was another one of my favorite characters, but my favorite Star Trek series up until recently was Voyager. Something about that one, it just, I'm not gonna lie, the video quality was hugely improved. DS9, Deep Space Nine came out at the same time, didn't have the same attachment to it, but Voyager, 7 of 9, Tom Paris was a Billy badass. I was like, I want to be him, man. He doesn't care. He's like a race car driver for ships, you know, spaceships. Like he's just so cool. But recently, I just started watching and finished. I think Kuhn and I talked about this last week over a private Zoom session. Picard, the Star Trek Picard series. It's a brand new series. I think it's like 10 episodes. I finished it within a weekend, bro. Like I watched the whole thing, and it has to be. I know I'm gonna get so much hate from Star Trek fans. It has to be the best series of all time. Discovery came out like 2 years ago, which was a prequel to like the original Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise series, and that was trash. Like I watched it so I know the Star Trek lore. Like the great thing about Star Trek is anything they make and anything they do in shows, it's never lost. It just carries over. So it just gets plugged in, and you'll see it in future episodes. So with Picard, you see they talk about everything. They talk a little bit. I think they mentioned Discovery once. Discovery is still out, but it wasn't as good as Picard is. The premise of the show is amazing. It's about Data. Data is one of my favorite characters. I didn't mention him originally. He's one of the most quirky characters from the Enterprise series, and it's all about him. At least the first series was about Data, and it was good to see him back on the big screen.
I thought you meant like Data or something like that. I didn't know there was a character named Data. Sorry.
Oh my God, Data is he's a android, superhuman android. Like the goal was to make them. He's super intelligent. He has what's the word I'm looking for? The AI is just off the charts. Like he's self-aware, so he wants to be humanistic. So he tries to mimic being a human. And he's like a great character. But Picard series is all about him, but it's not necessary. It's not about the Federation. Like he is a outlaw captain per se. He's not really an outlaw, but he's operating outside of the Federation, which is so cool. Like you've never seen that side of Star Trek. Not in the captain's chair, I should say. You have seen other like the Maquis, but you hear about them, but you never get to experience that side. So this time, operating outside the Federation, I thought it was really cool. I geeked out there. I'm sorry, guys. I took up a huge chunk of time.
No, it's fine.
No,
It's
keep
good.
going. And
Yeah,
I just
it's learning.
I just don't know anything about Star Trek, so that's why I'm like, oh man, live long and prosper, right? Is this the thing? Is this what they do?
That is the Vulcan. That's the Vulcan saying, "Live long
The
and
Vulcan.
prosper." That's the Vulcan
Okay,
thing.
okay.
But it's like Spock made that big, and I mean he's like probably the most well-known Star Trek character aside from the original Captain Kirk, Leonard Nimoy, and he's also one of my favorite characters, but not from this. I can't say it's the series that attracted me because it didn't. It was Generation. Then
What does this line mean to you? A lunar eclipse. The cosmic ballet goes on.
I can't remember. It sounds
Does that-
familiar, but
does that sound like Star Trek to you, or is that just some funky, poetic sounding language?
You know, it sounds familiar. It could be it might as well be because Star Trek has so much out there, bro, and there's so much lore and
Yeah.
there's so much just mythology. There's just so much episodes, so many comic books and novels
Yeah.
that I don't know it all. So
Web. So what
Okay.
was that?
No, so that quote is from The Simpsons, where they had Leonard Nimoy as a guest, and he says that while he's writing a trade, and then as a viewer, you're like, "What the hell is he talking? Or what is he talking about?" I didn't get what he meant, but it was funny.
and it's probably Star Trek related. Again, I didn't watch. I've tried watching the original series with Leonard Nimoy, and it was a struggle for me. I did enjoy some episodes, but I think just it's the era gap of videography and the quality. I feel like the higher the quality gets, even if it's a bad show, like Discovery is such a bad show. I know. Again, I couldn't make it past season 1. I never finished it. I tried so hard. Season 2, haven't seen a single episode. But the videography is so amazing. And the makeup, the CG, holy crap, it's like the world's most amazing painting that means absolutely nothing. Like the content is so blah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
you're engaged. You're engaged though.
I tried. It was hard because what's her name?
Oh, there's a different type of Star Trek thing. Sorry.
Well, it was Discovery. Discovery was
Okay.
it came out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was 3 years ago. Remember Sasha from Walking Dead?
Yeah.
She's the lead in that movie, and I don't want to say her acting is bad, but she feels so forced that I could never get behind her lead character. And another, like Star Trek was never about just one character. It's always been about the ship and a core group of the crew. I felt like Discovery was all about her. I mean, there was crew involved, but it was all about her. You know what I mean? It was, you won't see an episode. Yeah. I didn't finish the season. It literally revolved around her, and I think I just wasn't able to get behind her acting. But Picard, Patrick Stewart, hands down, has got to be one of the best actors of all time. His Professor X was amazing. And I just felt like even though this show was all about Picard, I could watch it. I loved every freaking episode and every second of it. Like I was hanging on the edge of my chair going, I need the next episode. Play, CBS, play.
Nice.
But the Star Trek series in general with Picard, the newest one being my favorite currently. Yes.
And so like,
wow.
Would you say since all the Star Treks kind of intertwine, right? At one point or another, they kind of combined it. Would you say that's one of the reasons why you like it so much? Like, yeah,
it's because the continuity. Yeah, like when the new Enterprise came out, I think in 2005 or 4. with Jonathan Archer, you hear later mention of him in Voyage in newer shows. Like they talk about, oh, in this new Star Trek movie, Scotty goes, yeah, Captain Art, or what's his name? Not his name. What's his title? Whatever. He just goes, what's above a captain?
You're asking the wrong person.
Corporal?
He goes, all right, Admiral. Like they go,
Admiral.
Oh yeah, you mean admirals? I tried transporting Admiral Archer's Beagle, and I'm like, holy crap! They took something from when I was in high school and put it into the movie, and like the continuity is so amazing. And they talk about Captain Admiral Janeway in the Star Trek Genesis movie with Jean-Luc Picard, Patrick Stewart. When she's an admiral, like the continuity is so good, and they mention like they have key. They don't. If something hits the show, it's a part of the lore. It won't pretend like let's not happen. Like with reboots, you know how they say let's reboot the season. There's never been a reboot. If there's a season that happened, it's part of the lore, and I feel that's amazing. Like they don't wash away some of the garbage that they produce. Like I hated DS9. People love DS9. I can't. It's such a struggle to watch DS9, but it's still a part of it. Like they talk about DS9. They talk about the characters. Voyager was docked at Deep Space Nine, so that is one of the reasons. And when I was a kid, no joke, I wanted to work for NASA. So freshman year in high school, I joined the robotics club, and they were doing a competition at NASA. So like that's kind of part of how. And as I got older, like things change. I go, man, NASA's not for me. I don't know if I want to do that much calculus and statistics and all that math, finite math. Who wants to do that? But I mean, and I geeked out to it this day, and I feel like because of Star Trek, probably gonna piss more people off now. I was attracted to Star Wars. For me, it wasn't Star Wars first. It was Star Trek, then Star Wars. And I do not have a beef. I like both series. They're amazing. They're in their own right.
You can only choose one. No, I was kidding.
No.
I was kidding.
That's like saying Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. You can't do it.
Yes, you can. No, I was kidding.
So which one do you choose?
Neither. No, I was kidding. People's gonna come after me with pitchforks.
You two are going like, this man's super geeky on Star Trek. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Hey,
I'm sorry, I'm lost. I'm lost.
Hey, you gotta go back. Just watch Picard. It's so cool. And the great thing about the series is you don't have to have even though the past seasons are interconnected, you don't have to see the past seasons to love the new seasons. Like it's not the continuity. You don't need to know what happened in the past to get what. Every series has its own
storyline
goal. Okay. It has its own storyline that and they give you a backstory. So it's not like you have to like what are they talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like imagine a Voyager movie came out and then another movie came out, but you had to watch Voyager to make that make sense. It just Star Trek doesn't work that way. And they kind of did that with the new Star Trek movies too.
Okay. All right, so I guess that's a lot of Star Trek in one thing.
that is a lot to unpack.
Yo,
we'll move
I told
on.
you, man. I told you.
Adrian, do you want to go next with your?
Yeah, I'll go next. But the highest math I went to was differential equations, but I had to drop out. That was after calculus. Kumar, just so you know. He was talking about calculus or something.
Well, I'm just saying, like it had a little bit of impact on me, but math stopped me.
Yeah.
And moving on. You
For
know?
sure. I don't know. I think Star Trek is amazing. It's been going on forever. It just when I would watch it back in the day. No, I wouldn't watch it actually. After The Simpsons, I would show Star Trek, and I think I would just turn off the TV. I don't know why, but I think it's one of those shows that it could be one of those shows that
The Simpsons, right?
Okay, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, on TV is what I'm trying to say, but I think it could be one of those things that I'll watch and I'll be like, "What the heck? This is actually really good stuff." Just haven't gone into it. I was more into Star Wars, and then I picked up on that whole Star Wars versus Star Trek beef, but not really. I'm siding with Star Wars just because that's what I watched, so it's biased.
Devil, you know.
But I mean, I fell off of Star Wars after the latest trilogy, so what can I say? Um, my favorite show, though, is a huge. I mean, maybe I'm worried that Zaida might have the same thing. It's How I Met Your Mother.
Ooh.
That's my favorite show, and I got into that show because after I finished Friends, one of my supervisors at work said, "Hey, why don't you get into How I Met Your Mother? It's just as good," something like that. That's what he said, and then I got into that show. But actually, before I got into that show, I spoke to Zaida and my other friend, Eddie, and they said, yeah, Him Yim is a good show, and they recommended that show as well. And so when I watched the pilot episode, I couldn't stop watching that series. I think it's 9 seasons.
Yeah.
8 or 9 seasons, and I finished that in like maybe 2-3 months. I tried to slow it down, but I was going episode after episode after episode because it had a lot of heart, had memorable characters. The music is really good. I'm not going to spoil the show if anyone's really interested in Him Yim, How I Met Your Mother. It's really
What is that again? Can you tell me the abbreviation?
Him Yim?
Him Yim,
Him Yim.
How I Met Your Mother. What do you have to say?
I know. What
What do you have to say?
For a second, the first time you said it, I was like, is Him Yim a writer? Is he an Asian writer? On this show? Like, who is he?
Korean writer? Is that what it is?
Korean writer? I
Sorry.
was like, but then when you said Him Yim, I was like, wait, is that the abbreviation? Okay.
Yeah, How I Met Your Mother. The abbreviation is Him Yim, and I mean it's a feel good show. I mean, you're gonna hear a lot of controversy about the final seasons or something, but the reason why I liked it is because it had a lot of heart. It was funny. It was relatable. The characters are relatable. There's definitely a change in tone in the mid-season of the show. It gets a little bit more serious, I would say. The first seasons it is serious, but it's very masked with a lot of comedy and just choices that our main character Ted Mosby has to make to meeting the woman or the show's premise, how he met his mother.
How he met his wife, you mean?
How he met his wife.
How he met his wife. I'm sorry. Because he's talking to his child.
born.
He's talking to his kid.
How he went to Back to the Future. Yeah. Oh yeah. So he's talking to his children. He's narrating to his children as the show goes on. So I definitely recommend that. Again, I love it because of the characters. It has a lot of heart. There's a lot of relatable moments. There's a lot of transformations with certain characters. There's some characters who go through a transformation, and man, I can't say what's gonna happen because I feel like it's just gonna spoil stuff. But it just feels relatable. And again, the music is my type of music. They got songs by the Shins, they got songs by Death Cab for Cutie, they got songs by Grizzly Bear, just some of the indie bands out there. And then it takes place in New York. I mean, they make New York look like a place that maybe you want to live over there, even though every time you hear about the East Coast or New York in general, it sounds like roughnecks out there. Like you gotta have a thick skin or something like that because it's hard out there. Just like Boss Luhrmann remind me about the sunscreen song or whatever. Aside from that, that's one of my favorite shows. Another show that's kind of parallel to that's really old, is called Dharma and Greg. That's a comedy as well, but that show goes through a transformation that it tries to be serious, and I think that's what may have caused people to fall off of that show. But with How I Met,
they brought it back and they did a movie or something, right? They did a special or something.
Dharma and Greg?
I don't remember that.
Well, it also takes place in San Francisco, Dharma and Greg.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it takes place in San Francisco. That show is all comedy, but like I said, when it gets to the final seasons, there's something that happens where it gets very, very serious, and I think eventually the show kind of just people, I don't know if they drifted away or what, or there was no more stories to tell, but Him Yim's way of going through that comedic tone and then becoming more and more serious is actually really it was a good hook, I would say. And those are some of the reasons why How I Met Your Mother is probably my favorite show. I've probably binged it maybe 3 or 4 times, maybe 5.
I've never finished the series of How I Met Your Mother. I fall off. I don't know.
There are some characters in there that people say they can't watch. Like my cousin said he can't watch How I Met Your Mother because of
Neil Patrick.
what's his name? Barney Stinson's the actor. What's his name?
Neil Patrick Harris.
I love him.
Yeah,
It's one of the reasons I love to watch it.
They can't watch it because of him or Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Jason
Segel.
Segel there, yeah.
So I don't know why. I think most of the time is Ted Mosby. That actor you hardly even see in other mediums, or I mean other projects. So I'm not sure why people wouldn't watch it. But Kumar, I definitely recommend How I Met Your Mother.
You know what? I've tried watching it. I've watched a bunch of the episodes. My sister watched the show for a while. I just never got into it. But with that said, like I feel I gravitated towards sci-fi naturally.
Yeah.
With the exception of like certain shows like Supernatural. Is that considered sci-fi?
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
I would consider it supernatural.
Okay, but most of the times, like anything with space, anything with knights, like Game of Thrones, I gravitate towards that, and I find it really difficult to watch other shows. Like when you said Dharma and Greg, this is how dumb, a little confused I got. I thought you meant Will and Grace. I had to go back and look
It's all good, Will and Grace.
But I thought you was talking about that. Like there's something about like I feel like shows like I liked Al Bundy.
Yeah.
What's it called? Married with Children.
Yeah.
But even now when I go back and try to watch that, I'm like, how did I watch this as a kid? This is so.
Because you're just watching for the sister. That's what you're watching. What is it? Christina Applegate? Right? What's her name?
But then I like. What's the show? The Office. I love The Office. And I don't know why. I feel like because it felt like a documentary, and my love for documentaries. I was watching it. Oh my god, I love it.
Oh, we gotta have an episode just The Office versus Parks and Rec.
Okay, I've never seen Parks and Rec.
Me neither.
Whoa!
I've watched like 2 episodes of Parks and Rec.
What?
And
Is it on a streaming service?
And
I think it's on Netflix.
Okay,
unless they took it off.
Parks and Rec versus The Office versus Community. No.
Ooh, how did you know? No, I was kidding. So, I mean, would you say this, Adrian, for Himyum? Would you say it's kind of like our age group's Friends? Because, like, I remember watching.
Let's back up. Friends is our age group's Friends, okay?
No, because I remember when Friends came out, I was middle school?
Yeah.
Elementary school?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember watching Friends since I was a little kid because my sister was like
same. But
so into it, and the age gap between me and my sister is just 2 years. So I want to say it's our generation.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I think it's more for older.
Yeah. It felt like it wasn't my at that time.
I did watch Friends. I did like Friends. Joey was fucking awesome.
I mean, I still love Friends. Like watching it now, I could it's one of those shows that I could put on in the background and just
exactly. Yeah.
It did not come out when you were in middle school.
When?
It came out in '94. I was in elementary school.
Yeah. See, exactly. No, it's not. Yeah, I agree with Zaida. It's not.
It was
exactly what you're saying.
I was watching it when I shouldn't have been watching it because it was mature content.
I mean, my sisters were watching it
shit
too.
went over my head.
So like,
well, I think I kept changing it because I was like, I kept seeing the same thing with David Schwimmer or whatever the actor. He's going like this in the beginning, right?
Exactly.
And I was like, what is this show? Why do people like it? And I kept turning it off.
Exactly. I was like, what is this? Like, I want to watch my cartoons. Like, like it's my afternoon cartoon style.
But see, if 94, I was probably like in 4th grade, 5th grade. I don't know, 94. But my sister used to watch it. Like, she would watch it religiously. I was terrified of my sister when I was a little kid because she was bigger than me. So I'd have to sit there and just watch it. So I remember like watching, not because I wanted to. Again, I didn't like the show because, again, it wasn't sci-fi. But I feel like it's still a part of our generation.
I mean, I never said our generation. I said our age.
Yeah.
Said our age. I mean, it is part of our generation, but it's just
the last season came out when I was a junior.
It wasn't our age when we like got into it. When we finally got into it, we probably were, you know, in our 20s by then, right? And then rewatching it, I guess. So yeah, would you say Him Yum is our age's friends?
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, there are episodes where I'm doing the math, like how old was Ted Mosby when he met his wife?
Nice.
I was about to say how he met his mother. And I forgot what it was. I don't know if he was 34, 36 or something, and I'm 32. So like, hey man, Ted Mosby was doing this at that age. So all I'm trying to say is I felt more relatable to Ted Mosby, and that's why I feel more connected to that show in terms of what you're asking, Saida.
Yeah. I mean, just think about it. Like, we never hung out at coffee shops. We probably maybe hung around at
I'm sorry, I worked at a coffee shop. I definitely hung out there.
You worked there. You didn't.
So
you were
technically I was in the bookstore that's a companion. Well, actually, the coffee shop is the companion.
You're right. But like, I would go there after work. I'd stay there and do my homework. On weekends, I would go there and do my homework. Like, I actually did go to the coffee shop.
But where do you go with your friends? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
With my friends to the coffee shop, I do it independent. Like, me and Tracy used to meet up there. And now with my colleagues from other CSUs, what we do in between fairs is we go to coffee shops and we don't look for the Starbucks. When I say coffee shop, I don't mean Starbucks, Pete's. We're looking for these little mom and pop hole in the walls that are freaking amazing. Like, we went to one in Fresno and had a whole aviation theme. It was freaking amazing, bro. Like, the seats, some of the chairs, they were airplane seats, which was amazing. And then you felt like you were an airport plane. It was cool. I'm just saying. But I still go to coffee shop. It's pretty.
So maybe it's just our age, Adrian.
Yeah.
You are my age.
No, we're not.
We are 06 after all. We're
You
06.
graduated what year? 04 and
06.
06?
Just
We're 06.
Junior 06.
We're both
1 year
06.
apart. 05 and 06.
Exactly.
1 year.
So that's the cutoff line. We're like,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
if you're
There are some things that Kumar talks about where I'm just like, what?
What things are those? What are you trying to age me, bro?
No, it's hard for me to. It's hard for me to bring up some examples right now.
I mean, like, I feel like just with I guess we want to say 06 people, I guess, then we definitely went to like sports bars or something like that to hang out more.
Well,
at
you're okay.
shops.
Yeah, we did.
After hours. I mean, I did both. Like, in the daytime, you don't go to a sports bar.
Yeah, see?
But
But I'm
Little
just saying,
mama
like,
house.
that's why I'm saying, like, I've never went to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. Maybe I went to like meet up there with one other person just to like pick up something from them real quick or
I
something.
feel like an old soul. 'Cause I got a really good friend in Fremont, and we all like. I know you're not supposed to go out and hang out with people, but even with the pandemic, we went and hung out at a coffee shop. We got our drinks and we just sat outside. But like, I still do that. Like, I feel like sometimes there's a time for sports bars and there's a time for coffee houses, and then there's a time for night events. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess. But I don't drink coffee. So if you want to meet up
Whoa.
spots or sports
Got my
bars.
coffee right.
No, I was kidding.
I think me and Zeta we used to hang out a lot at Chaplin's.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chaplin's. And then before COVID, we were doing our weekly beer runs, and it was nice.
Beer runs?
Well, I mean, we're going to a beer hangouts. I don't know what to call it, beer lounge, whatever. What is it called, Kumar? I don't know.
Hangouts. Beer runs means you're going to the store to grab a beer and you bring it back and getting toasted.
But I mean, even long before like when we're in our mid 20s, we're definitely going to sports bars to hang out, and we're a good amount of people too. And yeah, I mean, like even
So
like
you're
going to
Cheers on
Hooters, like
Friends.
I
Because
guess.
Cheers was a
like-
bar.
yeah,
Like we
see,
said, we're
I didn't,
more
I
Himium.
didn't watch Cheers,
I
man.
didn't either. It was
That's
it was
why
See,
so old.
but
that's why we're more Himium, because it wasn't like
you see,
bar
They hung
bar.
out in a diner. They hung out in a diner a lot.
Who?
How I Met Your Mother. Him Yum. I
Yeah.
like that. They hung out in a diner, not a sports bar, a diner.
It wasn't
Lot.
really a diner. I would say more of a sports bar, just because they had the bar on the side, and then you could also order food.
that was the place, man. Oh man.
Was it a diner?
Well,
No, it was a bar.
that's exactly. That's why, like, yeah, Him Yim is so relatable. It's because that's where most of our time was to hang out
Yeah.
and just shoot the shit, talk about whatever.
That's true. All right. Well,
What about?
wait, what was that?
Sorry, I was going to ask you. What about you, Zaida? What is your favorite show of all time? Now I'm curious.
All right. I'm gonna keep.
He's gonna
mine
say Him Yum too. I'm never gonna stop saying Him Yum.
You're hella dumb.
Him Yum.
No, I'm gonna keep mine short. Mine's really easy. Mine's Boy Meets World.
Was
Whoa.
it really?
Uh-oh.
I'll keep this
That's like-
short and sweet. I guess. Reason why I like this show is because it felt like it's the show that like taught me how to live my life growing up.
It had nothing to do with Topanga, did it?
I mean, she was hot, but
Okay. Like
Well,
I was
I mean-
like Topanga. That's why I'm watching it.
But then
and I
it-
liked Eric too.
yeah, Eric was hilarious.
Yeah.
Funny. I
yeah.
love that funny.
Also a good guy overall, but you know,
Oh, yeah.
depicted as like the stupid, funny guy who has like a heart. I guess.
Good. Right. I agree. Tell me why I can't
Did you
remember Corey's best
did you-
friend's name.
Sean.
Sean. Holy crap.
Did you know that Eric also voiced Terry McGinnis in Batman Beyond?
What? No, I did not. See, like I'm so clueless when it comes to like voice acting. I'll be like, huh.
I hope I'm
sounds
right,
familiar,
actually. I might
but
be
I don't
wrong.
know. I'll be like, that sounds like someone, but whatever. Like
Who's your favorite character?
for Boy Meets World,
Yeah.
Feeny. No, I was kidding. For me, it had to be Sean because
Oh yeah.
it felt like I related to his character the most. I always felt like the black sheep of the family, I guess, in a way. So like his character related me to the most, just because like he's always trying to find something, and like he can never find it, I guess. Like I said, the reason why I love this show is because it taught me like how I want to go about living my life, relationship wise, friendship wise, how I want to be as a person. It all went back, even though like I feel like I related to Sean, you know, all the stories are about Corey mainly. And so like his life was what like I guess I wanted my life to be, with the relationship where you find that one, you know, like you'll be with that one forever. You find that friend no matter like what status they have or how bad things get, you always have each other's back. And then you have that family, that continuity with each other where you're just together. Like even if it's to teach you a lesson, they'll teach you it like either through love or through hard love, you know? And so that's the reason why I love Boy Meets World. Plus also George Feeney, who's also a great teacher.
Mr. Feeney is amazing. Which character annoyed you the most?
Which who?
Character annoyed you the most? Melf.
Which?
No.
He irritated me. I'm like the know-it-all
Wait,
asshole.
who?
Leave me alone.
Oh, wait, yeah, the smart guy.
He's thinking
but he-
Minkus.
Is his name Mal?
That's like-
Mal?
No.
I swear the show. Yeah, Minkus.
Oh man.
I swear the show can be split into two parts. There's the childhood years where Minkus is there, and then the one where he's more like the high school or college, I forget. And it just feels like a different show completely at that point, compared to the childhood years.
Yep.
But I always gear towards the more the high school college years because it just I don't know what it is. It was more interesting to me.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna say, but regardless of which one it was, the high school years, the elementary school years, or the revamp with the daughters, Topanga's hot.
Danielle Fisher, is that it?
Yep.
Danielle
Fisher. Yep.
Yeah.
She is
Shoot,
gorgeous.
Yep.
Topanga.
And she was so ambiguous, you couldn't tell if she was like Latina, white, or what she was. I still don't know to this day, but I was like, damn. As a little kid, I was like, damn, she's pretty.
So for me, I don't feel like I had a character that annoyed me in that show, which is the reason why I kind of like it. So,
I think for how would you consider Girl Meets World like part of it now, or just its own thing?
It has to be because.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's you too.
Oh. Okay. I feel like with Girls Meet World, they did try to do their own thing, and it wasn't getting the results that they wanted until they started adding all the old characters, right? Like having Sean come back in for an episode, and like the parents come back in, and Corey's brothers come back in. Like once they started incorporating that, it felt like more relatable. But just as a standalone like show itself, it didn't really pop out to me as a standalone show, like what they wanted it to be.
I think they even brought back the middle school teacher, or I forgot the guy that got into a motorcycle accident.
Jonathan Turner. Yeah.
I think episode 2, right?
I thought he was totally like done. Oh, sorry.
No.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I didn't what was that? Was someone playing Clash of Clans? Which
down.
I didn't. My sister texted me, but I was playing Clash of Clans before. You know how I told you when I unlocked the phone?
Yeah.
It just turned on. I was like, oh shit. So I was checking my phone, but Clash of Clans was the last thing I did, so it was up.
I see. All right. I mean, those are our 3 top shows or series, I guess you want to say. I mean, we all had different like
genres.
Different genres for sure, and different reasons why we like our shows, I guess, right? So it's a good variety. We're gonna go into it. I wanted to talk about the Niners, like we all did. The schedule just got released this week for the regular season and preseason, I guess. And then also the draft. I mean, where you guys, I know we didn't get to talk about this, but what do you guys think about the draft? What do you think about our schedule? What do you think our record will be? Like predictions going into next seasons of our record after looking at the schedule. I guess Kumar or Adrian, whichever one.
Record-wise, I have no clue. And the reason I say that is we lost some key players on defense. And on offense, like Joe Staley just retired, which I was heartbreaking. Joe Staley, I met him in person, and I met him and Alex Boone. I don't know if you guys remember Alex Boone. I remember him. And I met them together. And they were like the funny, and they just sat there and talked to me. I'm a season ticket holder, so I get to go to a lot of team practices, and I got to meet them. And they were just so funny together, and like the energy, I feel like they brought a lightheartedness to that locker room. And with his departure, I'm kind of sad. I loved Joe Staley. Joe Staley, one of my favorite players from the recent rosters. I feel like I honestly don't know where we'll go. We have a tough road ahead of us. We are playing the Saints, the Chiefs. Are we playing the Chiefs? No, we're not playing the Chiefs.
Oh, we're playing the. Okay, good.
I always thought so we're playing the Saints. Looking at the schedule right now, I'm like, we got a tough. Of course, we've seen the Seahawks twice. We got the Cowboys. And I just honestly, I don't know where we are with the team, even with Kittle, Jimmy G. I feel like he will definitely have grown from last season and his loss in the Super Bowl. And I feel like Kyle Shanahan would have addressed some of his issues on offense. Like when he's being rushed that man shuts down. It's like a deer caught in headlights. He's trying to force passes. If he see me, if he can iron these out, I feel like we have a solid chance of having another Super Bowl run. But if teams have figured out to rush, because if you look at last season, every time he was rushed, we lost, and we lost by just a little bit. So he doesn't have the clutch factor. I don't want to say it's a permanent thing. Like you can get a clutch factor. I just feel like he needs to feel comfortable with the team, and I feel like this year is going to be that. Are you that guy? Are you the fifth hour man? Can you do it when it matters the most? And get us to get. Go ahead.
Did you see Sherman's quote though? He said, "We make the stop, we win."
Yeah, that's true.
And it was true, and again, defense fell short last year too. But defenses can't win games. Defenses can definitely stall games, but it's the offense that has to put up the points primarily. Our defense was amazing last year, but they always seem
like
to.
We scored the points in the Super Bowl. It was just like we couldn't hold out our lead, and that's where.
Right, and I feel like our defense is not set. Like, hey, if we're playing a 3-quarter football game, we got this. That fourth quarter, we just run out of gas.
That's the.
Our defense, I feel like we need to get a better rotation down so they get more breathers, or we need players who are just going to push through and be phenoms. Like, I miss having a Patrick Willis that would make that play, and Navarro Bowman that would stuff the hole. You know what I mean? These players who put it all on the line. I feel like, and I get it. Football is a very violent sport. You don't want to get hurt, but to win games, sometimes you gotta do dangerous hits and stuff. And I feel like our defense needs to step it up in the fear factor. I'm not saying go out there and do flagrant hits, get fouls. I'm saying they need to shut down players. Like they can run it up on, like Tyreek Hill. Come on, we could have blocked him. We could have boxed him in somehow. We need to definitely improve our cornerbacks. So I feel like it's going to be a struggle for this year. I'm happy with our draft. I'm happy that we traded away picks. I love a veteran pickup. I can't remember who they picked up.
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams.
Trent Williams.
Yeah, there was another one. We picked up someone on the O-line, didn't we?
That was Trent Williams.
Okay.
Trent Williams. Because Staley's retiring.
Yeah, right. So I feel like we have a chance, but we have so much improvement that is needed. And Joey Bosa, let's be honest, he's good. I'm not gonna take that away from the man.
You mean Nick Bosa?
Nick Bosa? Joey Bosa's his brother. I meant Nick Bosa. The man is great.
Are you trying to call out the Bosa brothers over here?
Hey,
like,
you heard what Joey said, right? Joey said
play.
he can't wait for his contract to expire with the Chargers so he can sign with the Niners. So they have to franchise tag him to keep him. But like our defense doesn't have a linebacker that or a defensive end that strikes fear in the offenses. So let's block him out and we're good. I feel like we need a couple more key players on defense. They don't have to be big names. Like Richard Sherman is a great veteran presence, and I hated him all my life. Like just being a Niner fan and then him coming from the Seahawks, it was a huge adjustment for me because it's hard to hate a player on your team, but I hated him so much when he came that first year.
I loved it, man. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I had the opposite too. I supported it.
Yep.
And it's one of those things where it's like he's forever a Hawk in my mind, forever a Seahawk. Like that red and gold, I saw it on him, and on my mind, I was like, you don't deserve that color. Take it off. Like that's what was going through my head. And like my friend went out and bought a Richard Sherman jersey, and I was like, bro, fuck you is what came to mind. I was like, no, he's a Hawk. But again, off the field, great man, respect what he does, and he's talented. I feel like him and Bosa aren't enough to kind of help our defense. We need young blood, and we need. I'm not saying the greatest players, but they have to be exceptional to improve our defense.
Well, we shall see what they have. How about you?
One more last thing.
Definitely.
Wait, what?
Initially, when Shanahan came aboard, I was like, man, I don't know how I feel about that.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Because
I don't know what you're talking about.
And the reason I say that is because we had no QB, and the first thing he did was pick up Jimmy G or John Lynch, whoever. I don't know who picked him up. I was like, we don't have a Matt Ryan on our team. Like, what are we gonna do? But what he did with what he had was phenomenal. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Just because you remember that Atlanta team he came from was stacked. So like, you can scheme amazingly with players like Julio Jones, Matt Ryan, Ahmed Sanu. Who else was there? The other receiver.
I don't know.
There's another Atlanta receiver, but there was so much talent on that team. I was just like, how is he going to transition this? How is he going to help us improve?
I still think he was like the better choice to get because the other guys.
He was the best at this point in time.
Because there was McDaniels, right, from the Patriots, and then there's a dude who went to become the head coach of the Dolphins, I think. I forgot.
I don't remember that.
I forgot.
I know McDaniels, but I don't remember the Dolphins head coach.
I forgot his name. It's just that I don't know how McDaniels is doing, and then I don't know. I know that other guy that we tried to get, but
Brian Flores.
It was maybe before
term because they fired their head coach like last.
There was a dude who was supposed to supposedly he boarded on a plane, and then all of a sudden he unboarded or something. I don't know what happened. I forgot his name, but something like that. It was during those years, and it was like, yeah, Shanahan is our go-to guy, and then he has the experience to go to the Super Bowl, and then he's young, and then I don't know, but going back to Gacy, yeah. Okay, but going back to our picks, we had to. What did we do? We traded DeForest, right?
Yeah.
Or we had to let him go, or we traded him. And I think we got Kinlaw, who I don't really follow college football. I don't really, so I'm excited who we got, but at the same time, I'm a little bit not as hyped because I remember when we got Solomon Thomas, and but then what am I talking about? We got Nick Bosa, and that guy's yeah. What can I say? But when we got Solly T, right? It's just that I was watching his highlights. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna freaking. Oh my gosh, he's gonna get these quarterbacks, and then look what happened. I mean, I know he has his own personal things that he had to go through. Unfortunately, I hope for the best for him, but it just didn't translate to the professionals. It's just a huge contrast from that college level to the professional level, and of course, I don't know what else to say about Kinlaw, but he looks really good. I saw some of his highlights. I saw how he was throwing QBs on the ground. He was ragdolling people. It looked amazing, and we just have to wait and see until the NFL is going on. And then the other guy that we got, the wide receiver,
Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. He looked, and then there's this other guy that we got really late. I think I don't know if it was in the 4th round or what.
Jennings.
Yeah. And these guys, man. Yeah, wide receiver. These guys look really good. I mean, I think everyone has the talent to catch. It's just a matter of how does it work on the field, I guess. But we don't need a big name wide receiver. I think these guys right here are going to be the guys in the future. That's what I hope. And as far as the schedule goes, I didn't really get to look at the schedule. I just kept hearing that it's looking really difficult. I mean, that's what was already predicted last season, right? Everyone kept saying we were already going to have a tougher schedule anyways, but
if you go to the Super Bowl, you're going to have, so we lost, so we have the second most difficult schedule going into the season, and the Chiefs have one of the hardest, but looking at it, the Jets, our first game is the Cardinals. I don't see them as a threat. The Jets, not that big.
I don't know. I mean, I think if Kyler Murray just has even more defense on his O-line or something, that guy's going to be very, very dangerous. So I didn't really get to look at the schedule, but it does sound it's going to be challenging. But let's just
I'll call out our games. Do you want me to call out some of the games we're going to play? We got these are non-division games because you already know our division: Cardinals, Seahawks, and Rams. So we got the Jets, the Giants, Eagles, Dolphins, Pats, Buffalo, Saints, Green Bay, Skins, Cowboys. And I feel like out of those, I'm afraid of the Eagles, The Bills, I'm like unsure of just because the Bills are a
Yeah.
powerhouse last year. No joke, a powerhouse.
Yeah,
And the Saints, Drew Brees, as always,
yeah,
and their
Yeah.
all-purpose QB, like holy fuck, you know what I mean? With
Yeah.
the Saints. And with Green Bay, you never know. So I'm saying we
Yeah.
have a tough road ahead.
That makes sense.
And we get to play the Raiders again. So
That's just preseason.
So,
preseason,
so
right,
now
preseason.
what?
Battle-
Kumar, what is
battle
it?
of
So the last one was what, 9 years ago or 7 years ago? The last preseason game against Raiders.
a preseason game 7 years ago. I want to say 7 years ago.
Uh huh.
And that one didn't go well, man. That one, the shootings happened. Like it was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, and see, here's the thing: people don't understand is again, I have nothing against the Raider fans. They always seem to have something against Niner fans. They're the ones that talk shit, but Raider fans aren't from Vegas. Like, it's not going to change the mentality of Raider fans. The game's going to happen in the Bay. The fans are going to go, and it might be violent again. Just because they're in Vegas doesn't change that fact. You know what I mean? But it's good to have it back on the schedule.
What you said right there kind of echoes, like, as a San Francisco Giants fan, I don't care about the Oakland A's, but it seems like their fans are more like
vocal towards us.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, but yeah.
And when we win, they talk. When we win, they're like, oh. But when we lose, they talk the most shit. And when they lose, I could care less. Like, you're not my team. I don't care.
It's the heart of sports, especially in the local areas.
Yeah, I'd rather talk shit to a Dallas fan because I hate Dallas. I'd rather talk shit to a Green Bay fan. I'd rather talk shit to a Hawks fan. Who the hell are the Raiders? I don't care. You're not my division. You have nothing to do with me. If we ever meet in the Super Bowl, let's go. But until then, I'm like, whatever. Y'all can talk your shit.
That's true. I'm just saying.
I get heated over something. I'm trying to keep it telling. You know what I mean?
What about you, Zai? How do you? Oh, sorry, Kumar. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say is like, I went to a when Dallas came played us. I want to say like 3-4 years ago. Nah, man, not 3-4 years ago. It was before our initial Super Bowl run. I want to say it was like 2009 or 10. There was a Dallas Cowboys fan. We were talking hella shit, just yapping to each other throughout the whole game. And at the end of the game, it was like, good game, walk away. Raider fans can't do that. Raider fans, when they lose, they got, I'm going to see you in the parking lot. Let's duke this out. Like, all right, cool. But whatever, you got your ass beat. Now you aggravated and get your ass beat again. I'm about to piss off hella Raider fans.
You shook hands with the Cowboys fans?
The Cowboys said, like, he came up, he said, we won. He's on a good game. Y'all played your heart out. The better team won today. And I was like, yes, they did. The better team won.
Respect.
But, like, I can respect that.
Did you wear
Raider
gloves?
fans don't
No, I was kidding.
Raider, I'm gonna be honest, not that many. I've never met a Raider fan that was humble. I mean, they got like the biggest chip on their shoulder for no reason. You know what I mean? Even when they're good, they're mad.
I feel like it's because everyone's always doubting them, so they have to have that chip on their shoulder. You know?
Yo, we were the shittiest team from like 2002 to like 2010. Okay, I wore my team with pride. I was like, whatever, we lost. We still got great players.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I understand it. Everyone has this, or at least a lot of Raiders fans have this like ride or die no matter what mentality, even if like you don't have like that sportsmanship fanship, I guess. I don't know how you say it. I guess going back to our topic with the draft, I want to say it was okay. Looking at it overall, I'll probably grade it like a B+. For the overall standpoint. Kinlaw, I feel like he could be really good. I like his storyline. He's like set up to have like that movie storyline where it's like he came from nothing, he was homeless, he worked his ass off, he like head down, just grind and get better, and I'm gonna do everything to win. I love that mentality in a person. It's like that Mamba mentality. No matter what you throw at me, I'm gonna rise above it.
I'm a grind, right?
Yeah, like so I think I really like Kinlaw's pick, and the fact that like we traded back just one spot and got another pick for it, even though we kind of traded that pick away to move back up into the draft. But the Brandon Ayuk, I feel like I'm fine with that. I know a lot of like professional sports analysts, I guess, or just sports analysts. They say that it fits well because Shanahan likes him, but then it didn't seem like they liked him, going at that spot. They're just saying, oh, because Shanahan likes him, like, all right, it makes that a good pick
for that. Yes.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is they did the analyst said that he doesn't fit that, was it number 25 overall pick, but because Shanahan's on board with him and he fits into Shanahan's scheme, he's a good fit for the Niners for that pick.
Yep.
That
and
makes sense.
I mean that's sometimes fine, like it doesn't mean you gotta think about like, oh, just because this guy might be a little bit more talented, like he might not have the personality to go with it. Like that's why you see Antonio Brown not on a team like mostly all last year, right?
Or this year,
yeah. Like he's amazing athlete, right? Like I'm not gonna lie. But then do teams want to deal with his drama? I mean, the Patriots didn't. They got him for what? I think one game, and then they're like, "Nah, never mind."
Belichick cut him.
Nah, we ain't doing it. But yeah. But I mean, that's also sad too, because it's in a way like that's how you're controlling these players' lives. Like it's a group mentality. Like,
but on a side note, did y'all watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary?
Nope.
So they're talking about. So there's a little bit in there about Antonio Brown. After he got a concussion, it was a second concussion. They saw a shift in his personality, and they're saying it could be that because of that hit, that Antonio Brown is now suffering from
like CTE.
CTE. He's suffering from CTE, and it causes a personality shift. And they're saying after that hit, it was like apparent that something happened. So it could be CTE. We don't know, and there's no way to find out until. I hope this doesn't happen for a long time until he passes. Like that's the only way to do it is to cut the brain open and find out. So they're saying it could have been. So I think it was like the last episode they talked about how Aaron Hernandez might have suffered from CTE, and that Antonio Brown might be another player who suffers from it after so-and-so hit. It was a Cincinnati game, I think. But I saw the hit, and I was like, damn, because he got rocked. And you could see his eyes just – it was bad.
Who hit him?
I can't remember.
Perfect? Was it perfect?
Montez
Perfect? No, I'm just kidding. Like he just has a bad reputation of playing dirty, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's not like do y'all remember Ocho Cinco and Terrell Owens? Like I felt like they were locker room time bombs. I didn't feel like Antonio Brown was that in the beginning. He went from a humble player to somebody who just
I guess. I mean, that's how some people deal with stardom, I guess. I don't know. No, I wouldn't know that. But yeah. All right, let's go back to it. So the draft, like I said, I rated a B+. I love that we got Trent Williams also to replace Joe Staley.
Oh, yeah.
That was a really good one. I like that we got a backup tight end just in case, even though they say he's like a more blocking tight end. But like we saw in the Super Bowl, and not only the Super Bowl, but like when Kittle went down, we needed another tight end to step up. So yeah, overall, I love our draft. I can't say much on them. Just hope that they perform well and become superstars, I guess. As for the regular season or the schedule, I'm gonna give you guys my prediction first, and that's 12-4.
That is
10-6, I believe, was my lowest that I gave them. Or is it 10-5? Whatever it is. 10-5 to 10-6, 10-6, 10-6. And then so the reason why I put them at that rate is because I looked at the schedule and like how a lot of it is played. I think we do home, away, away, home, 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 away, away. So like every time we play away, it's always back to back, right?
Oh,
I looked at it. So the first game's at home with the Cardinals. I actually have us losing twice to the Cardinals. And I actually have us.
whoa.
Why do you say that? I
And
don't
I
think
actually-
we're gonna lose twice to the Cardinals.
Okay, let me explain. Don't worry.
There you go.
think we're gonna lose twice to the Cardinals. I think we're gonna split with the Seahawks, and I think we're gonna whoop out the Rams.
Yo, we cannot lose to the Cardinals as our home opener. You're saying we're gonna lose at home the first game of the season, bro?
And I'm just gonna love it because everyone's gonna be like,
gonna-
"Oh man,
It's gonna
was their last year a fluke or whatever?" But then
yeah.
they're gonna turn
I
up
get
the
what you're
juice.
saying.
Don't worry about it.
I
But
get what you're saying.
yeah,
I just don't think we're gonna lose at home. Not against
So-
the Cards.
So here's the thing. I feel like with the whole non-practice issue, or especially with COVID,
shit.
we're gonna have
Yeah.
a lot less time for the young ones to prepare. So we're gonna miss DeForest Buckner that first game where Kinlaw's like still trying to adjust to the pros. Where we're gonna miss Emmanuel
To
Sanders.
adjust to that speed in the NFL, yeah.
Yeah, and then we're gonna miss Emmanuel Sanders for that veteran presence in
Mhm,
the
mhm.
wide
Where
receivers.
did he go?
He went to
Dallas?
It wasn't
No,
Dallas.
No,
I was gonna say, fuck him then.
Buccaneers? Oh no.
No, that'd be hella funny if he went to the Buccaneers. But I forgot. I should have. I think no, he went to the Saints. He went to the Saints. I
Mhm.
get that. He went to the Saints.
Oh
And,
yeah. You're right.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, damn, we lost him to the Saints. But yeah, so we're gonna miss that veteran presence for wide receivers. So then we're left with what on offense with a new left tackle. Even though he knows Kyle Shanahan's system, he's been out of the game for a year too. So he needs to, build that muscle memory back up, right? So that's why I think we're gonna lose the first season of the game. I feel like, and our defense struggles already with the whole mobile quarterback. Even though we beat them 2-0 last year, it was seriously a tough 2-0 that Jimmy Garoppolo had to lead the offense out to beat them. Like he had to throw 5 touchdowns, and they're coming back and about to beat us in that game. And I remember that because I was in Hawaii. And I was like, not like this, not like this.
Wait, what was that game again?
On Halloween. That was Halloween game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then, so that's why I feel like we'll lose the first one. I think also with the weapons that they added in with the Houston wide receiver, what's his name? Superstar. I can't remember. My God, I need to look this up.
I don't know. I forgot.
DeAndre Hopkins.
DeAndre Hopkins. See?
Oh
Dreads.
yeah.
My mind was saying Dreads, and I'm like, what's his name?
Yeah. See, so they have Hopkins. They have Fitzgerald coming back.
Who's your quarterback?
Now second season, Kyler Murray.
And okay, let me ask you this: you think DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray are going to build some type of connection with the shortened prep season?
Yeah, I really think so. If you're a superstar wide receiver, you could make your QB look really good, right?
Yes, you can make terrible QBs look really good sometimes.
Yeah. And here you still have that security blanket in Larry Fitzgerald, which every time we think he should fall off, he somehow pulls he's like a Vince Carter of football. Vince Carter just keeps now he's retired, but Vince Carter just kept going and going, and even though he's getting old, he still shows that he can play the game, which is crazy.
So what you're saying is with Deebo Samuels, Jalen Hurd, our new wide receivers, Kendrick Bourne, you think we're going to get beat by the Cardinals? I feel like we got the Cardinals because we got the speed in Deebo Samuels, and our running back core ain't changed much. We still have Raheem Mostert, and we still have Tevin Coleman. We lost Breida, but after his injury, he was never the same. So I feel like we're gonna beat. I don't think we're gonna whoop the Cards. I feel like we're gonna beat them, and it's not gonna be a holy shit they blew them out of the water, but it's not gonna be like, oh shit they barely won. I feel like we're just gonna genuinely have a good game and we're gonna win.
We'll see. I mean, I hope so, but I feel like the Cards are gonna be a lot better than everyone's giving them credit for.
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I agree with Zaida. I think Kyler Murray's gonna change things around. And then it's just that we have difficulty with those mobile quarterbacks. But just hoping for the best.
Yeah. So
I feel
then,
like we got them beat the first. I feel like we got them beat game one. We're gonna lose to them at the end of the season. We're gonna lose back to back. We're gonna lose to game 16. Oh, week 16, we're gonna lose to the Cardinals, and in week 17, we're gonna lose to the Hawks. It's the way it's gonna work, away and at home. So
no, see, so I don't think that. I'm not thinking that. But okay, so going on. So I think we'll lose to the Cards. I think we'll beat both the Jets and the Giants. Even though they're away, they're at the same arena. So we're just gonna have that trip, log in, not have to fly back and forth. You just stay at the same hotel.
Stress.
Yeah, no stress. So that's 2 games. I think we'll beat Philly hands down, Miami hands down, Rams hands down.
And that's back-to-back home games, so that's a great stretch for us.
Yep, back-to-back home games. Yeah, three home games in a row.
I think we got the Pats beat too.
And then, so this is where I become iffy. Is just because we can win, we can lose for this one.
Who's their new quarterback?
I don't know, but I just never count out the Patriots, no matter what. Like
you never count out Bill Belichick.
They deserve that credit already. Where it's like, all right, they could pull out anything at this moment. So I would rather see how they're doing in the season before I toss that. But I'm saying if best case scenario they win, we go on a 6-game win streak, right? So we lose the first one, go on a 6-game win streak. Then we lose at Seattle, which is just because we're at Seattle. Feel like we got Green Bay's number again.
Yeah, I think we got Green Bay.
Then we go into New Orleans. I think that'll be a tightly contested one, but that's where we lose.
So I want to go to that game. Y'all in?
Maybe if it happens.
In New Orleans.
If it happens. But
I was planning on going. So
Super Bowl's gonna be in New Orleans.
No. Saints versus
week 10.
For that game. Oh yeah. Shit.
I have to see the schedule too, just because if it's in November, then I'm most likely can't because
November 15th.
Yeah, then I can't.
It's a Sunday.
I can't. All right. So New Orleans, we lose. Then I had us at first losing to the Rams just because we were going back to back. But then I looked at the schedule and I was like, oh, we have a bye after the Saints game. And then
so we get to come home.
And then, yeah. And then we'll also
knowing Shanahan, he's not going to come home. He's going to go straight to LA and they're going to practice there for the week because that's what he's known for doing.
Yeah. And so then we beat the Rams. So that's why I have us 2-0 against the Rams. We beat Buffalo. I shouldn't have any doubts about that.
Yeah.
We whoop on Washington just because Trent Williams will want that. And Kyle Shanahan doesn't like Washington anyways.
He hates his father's legacy?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how they did him dirty.
Yeah.
So I still think he has that grudge on his shoulder. With Dallas, I always want to say we'll whoop on Dallas. So I have that as a win no matter what.
Yeah.
Then week 16 at Arizona, again, that's where we lose. And then we face Seattle at home, and I think that's where we'll win. So all in all, my best case scenario is 12-4. Like I said, my worst case scenario is 10-6, and that's if like everyone's healthy, no injury play,
no major injuries.
Yes.
I agree with most of yours, except for 2 things. I feel like we're gonna win week 1 in Cardinals, okay, and then we're gonna lose to them in week 16 because we're gonna be high off our win in Dallas. And we have been known to come off of a win, like amazing blowout win, so high that we come into the next game and we just assume we're going to mollywop them and then we're going to lose back-to-back. Because we're going to be demoralized. And I feel like once Jimmy gets into a slump, sometimes he stays there for a little while. But I feel like we'll make it to the playoffs.
But, yeah, I have us playoffs. I mean, best overall, if I wanted everything my way, it would be 16-0, right? So
Well, what I'm saying is if they beat us both times, we might end up being the second seed. Whereas if we beat them once, we can be the first seed. We got to beat, you know what I mean?
We'll see, man. I mean, last year we had so many teams like winning in the NFC. It was crazy. It was like no matter, even if like we did go on like a really long run of win streaks, like all these other teams were going on runs too. Green Bay, Saints, Seattle. Like,
wait, Green Bay won as a streak last year?
Green Bay was, I think, second seed.
Huh. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And they underperformed in the playoffs. That's right. I totally forgot.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, I see Saints, Green Bay as a threat. Dallas, I don't see as a threat. Philly, I feel like wild card. But yeah, I agree. I just disagree with those two things. We're going to beat Cards in week 1. We're going to lose to them in 16, and we're going to lose to the Hawks in 17, just because of the way that we've played in the past.
We'll see. But
and I'm going to say we're going to mollywop New England. We're going to just decimate them because they're not going to be ready with the green quarterback. Whoever they put in, unless they go out and get Kaepernick, they ain't ready.
I don't know, man. You never know. We'll always see.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick and scheming.
But thanks everyone for listening to this episode of The Genuine Guys. That's all the time we have for today. So thanks again. Hope to see you next time. Stay fresh.
Thanks, guys. Peace.
All right, y'all. As always, if you have any suggestions, send them in.